Let's do this. Let's have some fun. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio, and I appreciate every last one of you as we get into another episode, another broadcast of Battle for Freedom. I appreciate every last one of you as we cover some interesting topics today. Today, I want to talk to you about this whole idea of the hunt for Blue October. Mega Trump or treat? Hunt for Blue October. Hunt for Blue October. Mega Trump or treat? If you want to interact, you can go to facebook.com/Battle for Freedom. There, I already see Lep and Jamie. They are the leaders of American Fried Roasters Coffee. Yeah, I need some American Fried Roasters Coffee. No, they are the hosts of Ain't You a Peach, available to you on Mojo5 Radio. You can go to mojo50.com/schedule and you can find out all the shows that are available to you. Heidi is part of the group as well too. I really appreciate you because this is pretty stinking hilarious. I see Lisa as well. If you want to interact, we're going to talk. And actually, honestly, to tell you the truth, there's something dangerous about this hunt for Blue October, because I think that there is something dangerous, very, very dangerous, that we're going to go through here. And I don't believe that we're prepared for the worst case scenario of what's about to happen here. I believe that right now we're getting a little bit lax. We're getting getting lax in holding standards and getting excited of people being exposed. With all the hard work that the likes of Project Veritas is doing, this is not a time to get very overly comfortable and think that there still aren't any expectations for us going into this election, not just into this election season, but even further. And before I have any more, tongue twists or anything like that here, let's get through American Pride Roasters Coffee. Officially, historically great coffee, and it is also the official coffee of Mojo5 Radio. AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Great coffee, and I cannot wait to have my bag after this broadcast is over. Sometimes I can't do that to my wife so early in the morning because it will drive her up the wall if I have too high of a caffeine level. And if she's triggered, the best thing I could probably do is get her signed up for New Life Holistic and the biofeedback therapy from Anthony Malchiotti. It will most likely help her, less triggerify her, and put her in a sweet disposition as she's getting kids ready for school and getting them off to school. Hey, Brandon, thanks for being part of the program. Yes, it is great to have you here as well as we get into this and we have this great discussion. So this idea of this, because right now everybody's excited for a red wave. Right now, all indications are that there will be a red wave that's going to basically go in and destroy this. Sadly, the Democrats know this. They're doing everything that they can. And I was thinking about this yesterday or the day before. Democrats are desperate. Right now, Democrats are desperate because of the fact that they need something big. For me, they feel a little bit too calm for me. Almost like they're sitting on something, and I don't know if it's really going to be a manifestation or something that was basically put together in light of Mar-a-Lago. But they're doing their darndest to basically stop the dying blue wave that's coming in here. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a lot of these issues right now that are really hurting Democrats. Their policies are on trial right now. Democrat policies. But see, here's the thing about it, though, because I want to make certain that it's Republicans, conservatives, non-liberals, whoever you are, whatever you associate, constitutionalists, Tea Partyists, I don't know. You don't get too comfortable and think that now all you have to do is coast in and then you basically will get the role. You'll get the position. Americans are just going to hire you. We still have a responsibility to prove our worth. Every last one of us still has a responsibility to prove our worth, to prove our value, to prove that we're still worth investing in. We're all on trial right now. And I think that there's a danger that can happen here right now is the idea that we're looking at everything that's happening. I tell you, one of the biggest things that's going to happen here that I think is going to hurt Democrats more, it's not even on my list of things that I want to talk about, but in the last 2 weeks, James O'Keefe has exposed 3 teachers, liberal progressive teachers, who are clearly out against conservatives. I bet you they already sent out a mandate about Project Veritas being in Connecticut or New York, and don't get interviews or sit down and talk to people that you've never met before, telling people to be tight-lipped. Oh, they're going underground. They're going underground big time because of the fact that they've been exposed. And here's the crazy part about it. He's exposed 3 people. There's a 4th coming. Now, again, this is just conjecture on my part, but if you look at the videos that are being pushed out by Project Veritas, it shows the last 3 people who were exposed in the last 2 weeks, okay? And then there's a 4th image with a light shining on it, like where we've got 1 more coming. And I bet you right now, but somewhere between New York and New England and California, someone is quaking in their boots. There's a teacher, there's an administrator, there's someone in this country right now scared because they're wondering if it's them that's next. The trial of the century. That's what this midterm election is about. It is the trial of the century against all the liberal progressive policies and how they have done nothing but fail the American people, fail everyone. And Democrats, they have a lot to prove. There's too much going on right now to basically say that liberal progressive policies, you can't blame Trump on where the state of this nation is right now. You cannot blame Trump. White supremacy? How in the world can we talk white supremacy when we had 2 black guys in Tennessee kill whites? Oh, you in Tennessee? Are you trying to force a red wave? Not even a red wave and a red avalanche. How can you argue white supremacy? And the worst part about it is the way that the news has skewed this stuff, because they don't want to talk about white mass shooters. See, Uvalde was the last best thing for the media and Democrats. It was a tragedy, but it was the last big thing that they could use to sell their point. So they had to manufacture Mar-a-Lago and so much more on the way. But understand this. Here's the thing about it, though, is just as bad as whoever that 4th teacher is who's clenched their butt cheeks, and because they're concerned about whether or not it's going to be them next. Republicans, conservatives, don't get comfortable, because you could be exposed as well too. Period. What if that 4th teacher is a conservative-minded teacher who basically talks about their bias against liberal teachers? Ooh. You didn't consider that, did you? You didn't consider that. Because right now, I think everybody's on the chopping block. I know liberal teachers are scared out of their wits right now, but there should be Republican and conservative teachers equally scared, equally fearful about whatever data that James O'Keefe and Project Veritas is about to expose. But within the next 24 to 96 hours, something big is on the way, and there's no way that you get around it. So please, don't get too comfortable in believing that Democrats are going down. No. Everybody is about to go down. Everybody is about to get exposed, and there's no way around this. Here's the one that I thought, because, hey, Amy, thank you for being part of the program. Here is one I thought that was very interesting, because a crime was committed. A crime was committed, and he still thinks that he can get away with this, and that's not going to be a problem. Let's deal with this guy here. Steve Bannon will surrender to New York authorities on Thursday after being indicted over We Build the Wall fundraising scam. Despite being pardoned by Trump, he calls prosecutors deranged thugs. You scammed people. You scammed people. You see, again, here is this process of raising up money and taking it from people. And these are the very people that many of you have been trusting. That data that's been circulating around about Mike Pence, was it Lynn Wood? Was it Steve Bannon? Was it who? Who sent that information out there that everyone's circulating? And these are the people that were helping and supporting Trump, willing to fall on the sword for Trump. And they were willing. So if they didn't have, if everything, you were pardoned by Trump for a crime you committed, but we're supposed to trust you. But Mike Pence, we got to spend hours trying to prove that he's a Kabbalist. We got it because he is not fully sold out to Trump. You see how we have to be very careful that everybody's on the chopping block right now. Everyone is on the chop. Don't get comfortable. Just like I was trying to say this to some friends, the reason why Biden's in office is being for the liberal progressive Democrat way that says it's better. That it's better than what MAGA and conservatives have to offer. And they're being exposed. They're so comfortable right now, they do whatever they want. These teachers who are bragging, these administrators who are bragging about clear bias, violations of government policies and school policies, federal, state, county, city policies against discrimination, and they're busted. They got comfortable. And I believe that many of us, we're getting comfortable. We're getting too comfortable. And God is basically telling us, wake up. Wake up. That little sin that you thought that was manageable in your life, that little sin that you thought wasn't going to be too bothersome on people, God's basically saying, I'm done with it. I want to put an end to it. I want to put an end to it right now. I just don't believe that we feel convicted enough to respond to the prodding that's happening right now. Right now, it's a little poke. It's a little poke right now. But soon later, it's going to be not a little finger poke. It's going to be a prod with like those cattle prods. And then it'll get a little bit worse with a little electricity, a little shocking coming out with those little cattle prods of moving us into place. But here it is. Hey, Curtis, thanks for joining. Here it is. Bannon that people put all their hope into. So don't understand this. This is not just progressives who are on the chopping block. Conservatives too. Don't get this twisted. Here's one. Speaking of Mar-a-Lago. Bill Barr says DOJ is getting very close to having the evidence to indict Trump after Mar-a-Lago raid. This is not just failing to return the library book. Now, this is very key because I'm not going to lie to you. Anything and everything that we needed to know about Bill Barr was exposed in the last few years. Bill Barr knew that he could go after the Hunter Biden thing. He chose not to. Bill Barr choosing not to go after Hunter Biden, knowing that the data, not only did the FBI choose not to respond to the Hunter Biden situation, Bill Barr refused to do this because he didn't want to sway political things here. The lack of objectivity that was clear in the FBI and even in the Department of Justice is there now. And a lot of people, you kept thinking, we're going to expose Trump for everything. If Trump is guilty of anything, let him be exposed and we deal with that. But there's been a lot of exposing of this administration. The tyranny, the corruption, the failures to provide for the American people at the way that was proclaimed, and the violation of the American rights. The Biden and them have the nerve to talk about the idea of MAGA Republicans and Trump supporters of violating the Constitution. What do you think happened when the government made mandates? When the government made mandates against a person's right about injections? Was that not a violation of the Constitution? When the government started to make laws and rules that violated persons, Biden said in 2020 he would not in any way make mandates. Less than 11 months later, he made mandates. You know, this is very interesting. I'm still not sold on this Mar-a-Lago thing. It just really seems like they're going out of their way to make something, manifest something. They said, oh, the voters weren't doctored. Okay, whatever. They're trying to manifest something here. And we need to, you know, we need to really step back, because I think we're about to get deluged with a lot of information over the next 2 months. We're now what? Wow. We're officially 2 months away from Election Day. We are officially, it is September 8th today. It is officially 2 months away from Election Day, the midterms. And the question is, what are we going to do? What is it? 8 weeks as of this past Tuesday? So 8 weeks yesterday will hopefully be decided. There won't be any extended counts or midnight changes or floods happening in election zones and walls being painted and covered and prevented from people seeing what's going on. I just don't know. Be careful there, Lep, because Facebook may actually choose to put you on warning because of that. Be very careful about what you post there. Don't know if it's they're going to respond nice to what you said there. Who is it? Curtis said the boy who cried wolf. That's key, because that's going to be a message that's huge in the midst of it's key to even where I want to go with today, because of the liberal progressive message of victimhood, of crying wolf. I mean, I'm telling you, the biggest articles right now are, make no mistake, 2 black killers in 1 week, a week and a half. Oh, this is huge. There's no way around this. What's happening in Tennessee is liberal progressivism on full display. It is the center of attention. And what was interesting was 4 people were shot and killed. That's a mass shooting, right? No, it's a shooting spree by the media. It's not a mass shooting. It's a shooting spree. Oh, you remember in Canada where the 10 people were knifed to death? It wasn't a massacre. It was a stabbing spree. But you see how quickly they rushed that in Canada, where you're not supposed to carry guns? You see how quickly they tried to squash that story, because it literally is flying in the face of everything, all things gun control. Oh yeah, your story about knives. There are massive knife attacks. And people are seeing how defenseless they are to the tyrannies that they've been subjected themselves to the liberal policies that they've been following. And as many people are now turning up sicker than ever, as more people are dropping like flies, people are starting to ask questions. People who are wholeheartedly into following the science are starting to ask questions. Late, albeit, but they're starting to ask questions. So there's a huge indictment against liberal progressive policies right now. There's a huge indictment. No. We're not. We're in the trial process, and Americans are deliberating. Brendan says that, yes, it will be quiet up until about 2 to 3 weeks before then, and all this mess will be pushed out. Agreed. And I guess that's the reason. That's the danger of a lot of the stuff being exposed right now. Brendan says voters have short-term memory and go back to memory going to need to push it harder closer to the election. Most definitely they're going to need to rehash this. And yes, this short-term memory. Yeah, gas is lower, gas is cheaper. People aren't complaining about gas. Gas is still high. People aren't complaining about it as much. But it's amazing how all these things have changed. And be certain this administration will take credit for the lower gas prices, for a little bit more ease at the pump. I mean, I was surprised when we looked at the price of the new iPhones coming out that they were still cheaper than ever. Oh, what did it say? Great inflation prices for the iPhone. That they dropped the prices of these things so that you wouldn't be paying as much money. Oh, make no mistake, they're desperate to sell a message that things are affordable. That things are affordable now. Although it's pretty funny that Steve Jobs' daughter is mocking the iPhone 14 because of the fact that they said it's the same thing as the phone last year. iPhone's pretty much been the same for the last 5, 6, 10, 15 years. They keep selling new things to you. And yeah, there was some new feature that they had on yesterday. I was like, wait, I thought I saw that feature on my phone yesterday. Yesterday before the actual broadcast of the new phone, one of the features that they were promoting on the new phone, I already have on my iPhone 13. I don't need the iPhone 14. It's already available. That feature is already functioning. I was like, no, I just saw that feature an hour ago. Where someone called in, the top display came in, and it animated and all the stuff about who was in. Right now, the big tech companies, every last one of them, they're on trial. They're on trial. What have you done for us lately? And that, like Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? I believe that that's the question that's going to be asked to not only progressives, to conservatives, to Democrats, to Republicans, to libertarians, independents. It doesn't matter. The question is about to be raised. Thank you, Grace, for joining and being part of the program. This is great to have you here. Let's get into this guy for a second here, because the Memphis guy who shot multiple people. I don't have to show his picture because we're going to keep talking about this after. I'm going to come back from the break here. But Memphis live stream shooter, 19, smiles and mugshot after killing 4 people and injuring 3 more during terrifying 22-hour shooting and execution spree he broadcast on Facebook. Get this. Here's one of the biggest victim messages of crying wolf that has failed. Here's a black man who shot and killed a bunch of white people, and he's still breathing. And he's still breathing. How can you argue white supremacy when you've got massive killers still walking and roaming the streets? Let's go to a break, and I'll talk to you on the flip side. In John 14:6, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now, a lot of Christians are going to, or quote unquote Christians, are going to tell you that there are many ways to heaven. Sorry. The only means of getting to heaven is through God's grace, or by God's grace. There's nothing we can do. There are no good works that we can accomplish. There are no great deeds that we can do, because the moment that we say that we can do something good to get ourselves into heaven or just be good people, into getting into God's heaven, where Jesus is the requirement, God's grace is the requirement, you're destined for hell. I'm sorry, there's just no other way to say it. Please, stop following the lies from the people in the world who have nothing to gain except your eternal damnation and misery. Hear the truth. The only means to heaven is through Jesus Christ. No other way. Accept him, please, before it's too late. Thank you. Are you tired of living from paycheck to paycheck? Are there more days at the end of the week and the end of the month than there's money in your bank account? Have you heard of a budget? Have you ever even heard of Dave Ramsey? Well, before we get into there, why don't we consider the 3 steps for financial freedom and remove you from the frustrations that are driving you up the wall right now? Start with prayer. That's the first step. Have a conversation with God, and he can get you on the right track to make sure that you're doing things the right way. The second step would be looking into Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Great stories of people who were in the same position as you were and how I used to be in the past. And they can show you that it does work. His plan does work, but you have to change your mindset and how you look at money. And then the third step is looking into Financial Peace University. This is what you take after reading Total Money Makeover. Trust me, this plan works. And I assure you, you will be living a lot better than you ever could before when you get a budget. Look into it now. Triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for freedom. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom and Mojo Fiber Radio. Glad that you can join me. If I haven't said it, thank you, Grace, for joining and being part of the program. You know, it's very... Are you serious? Holy cow, you've got to be... There is no way he's serious on this. So as we're sitting here, oh my goodness, you've got to be kidding me. These people are just downright evil. Wow, as we're sitting here talking about the hunt for Blue October, mega Trump or treat, Brandon says Google Play store has censored Truth Social. I am Team Green, but seriously thinking on switching to Apple. Oh my goodness, are you serious? Going to Apple? Oh, what? What? Yeah, you know it's pretty bad if Brandon's switching. That's almost like saying him becoming a Pittsburgh Steelers or Miami Dolphins fan over being That's too much. Is it too soon? Too early? But no, here we are. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. That they're getting to the point where they feel that they don't have to be accountable for what they're doing. We've pushed about how, and Curtis says, get ready for the purge. Yeah, that's mostly that's definitely on the way. But they've pushed white supremacy. I mean, literally everything that. Look at the news articles. GOP when it's a GOP, when it's a Republican. Oh, the news articles in the mainstream media says GOP. They say Republican. They say conservative. But when the offender is a Democrat or a liberal progressive, they just say the person's name, or they're very generic when it comes to this. And I believe that people are paying attention. I believe that people are paying attention, and they're getting tired. They're getting frustrated. They want consistency in the broadcasting, and what the people don't realize, and yes, even though, as Brendan said, voters have short-term memory, there's a lot of pain that people are going through. And right now, this idea of this black kid, hey, a black kid can't go in and just go off and start, black people can't go off and start shooting and killing people without ending up shot, killed. This is the second black person who's been taken into custody in a week. What say you now? What say you now? This is very, very interesting. But yeah, this is not a mass shooting, even though more than 3 people have died. Because they keep changing the term for mass shooters they keep changing the count for mass shooters when the person's white. Person's black, shooting spree. Person's non-white, shooting spree, stabbing spree. It's a spree. It's not a mass shooting. And people are getting tired. They're like, this politically correct nonsense is hurting the truth getting out. That you guys keep skewing the numbers, skewing reality, and we're tired of it. Trust me. It may not affect itself in the polls immediately, but as people's pocketbooks, their purses, their wallets are being affected, oh yeah, most definitely. People are done, and they want to put an end to this. I think it's one of my stories here. I'll see if I can find it. But it was the idea that they said 69% of Americans have canceled vacations, canceled plans, because of the fact that they can't afford to do anything anymore. How do you reconcile that? Yeah, we'll get to that one in a second. Yeah, here it is. Oh yeah, another one of. This is a big one here too. About cancel. Sorry, just having a challenge of working and operating computers here. So thank you for your patience. Soft touch. Here it is. Soft touch San Francisco. Soft touch San Francisco leaders now call for ideas to be given to them within 90 days to end open air drug markets without anyone going to jail. Overdose deaths hit 1,700 since 2020 as users run rampant across the city. Anyone could have told you this was a bad policy. San Francisco looks like a hellhole. San Francisco looks like a poop hole. San Francisco is no longer safe. It hasn't been safe since Needlegate and Poopgate. If you don't know what Needlegate and Poopgate is, it was the idea that they had apps to tell you where the needles and where people were defecating in San Francisco. They had an app for that. And people are fleeing California cities, fleeing New York City and areas of New York, fleeing Chicago because these policies are hurting. But here's the crazy part about it too, is as liberal progressivism is being put on notice, people who have been trying to leave California and turn Texas blue, purple, and then blue, you're on notice. Because you're the ones who enabled the very people to create the legislation that destroyed your city, destroyed your state, destroyed the country. And just moving does not fix the problem. Shifting cities, shifting states doesn't in any way remediate or change anything if you yourself have not been changed to recognize the dangers and the flaws and the ineptitude of the liberal progressive way. That communism and socialism doesn't work. This equity program that you sought does not work. It does not work. Lives are being destroyed. 1,700 people died in 2 years. We're not 2020, 2021, 2022, 3 years now. We're looking at least 1,700 people dead. I mean, who knows when they started the count? You remember how 14 lives affected by COVID was 14 lives too much? We're looking at 1,700 people dead, overdosed, with a liberal progressive policy that we knew, us conservatives, us gun-toting, Bible-thumping, us jerks, us ingrates, us incest-bred fools. We told you this was going to be problematic. Now you're seeing the result of this. Now you're seeing the result of this. San Francisco is probably one of the biggest testimonies as to why liberal progressivism doesn't work. Nancy Pelosi's backyard, and people are not happy. Let's look at this other one here. Here, you remember when I told you about how the news doesn't report things the way Las Vegas official is arrested following fatal stabbing of investigative reporter. Local administrator ranted about the veteran journalist on social media just days after his affair and the toxic workplace in his office were exposed. Jeff Gurman, 69, a veteran reporter who covered politics and crime for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, was found dead outside his home on Saturday morning. On Wednesday morning, police raided the home of local government official Robert Tejas, 45, and was arrested hours later. Tejas, Clark County Public Administrator, lost the June 16 primary and accused German of conspiring with his predecessor as administrator to force him out. Tejas had been rallying against German for months, including an angry series of messages on social media. Tejas accused German of rifling through his trash and writing lying smear pieces about him. So we have months of data. See, you remember how we were saying that we need to monitor these people online, these shooters? It shouldn't be so easy for them to have access to guns. Well, this Democrat, see, what they don't tell you is that this Las Vegas official is a Democrat. He's a Democrat, but they don't want to say that. And he has access to knives and access to criminals who will perpetuate the crime of killing. And he kills someone who tries to expose him. Wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing something similar with these school administrators being exposed. Because there is no hiding what they were doing. There is. Let's move on. Here it is. The Great American Squeeze. 69%. 69 million households are now canceling vacations, driving less, and cutting grocery bills as inflation hits home, pollsters reveal. A worrying 12% said that they were experiencing severe hardship as their standard of living tanked. Cash Republicans say inflation is biting into their paychecks more so than Democrats. Cash strapped, and why so? Because probably most of those Republicans are actually paying in taxes, and most of those Democrats probably are not. So the Democrats are getting their money from government programs, which basically is just nothing but a loan from the American people who are paying taxes. Government program, government assistance is the most devious program out there because it's involuntary rape, financial rape against the American people who are paying taxes. It's not voluntary rape, it's involuntary rape against the involuntary financial rape against American citizens who are paying their taxes. And that's how you make your money. Cash-strapped Americans told DailyMail.com they were cutting back on gas and groceries. Others are working overtime, finding second jobs, and even delaying medical procedures. You know what happened? We're seeing other people. Right now, we're seeing the fallout of a certain virus taking front and center to all medical causes because people were delaying their medical procedures for the pandemic. And now they're delaying their medical procedures for inflation. We had inflation. We had a pandemic. What's next that literally makes them delay what, stock market crash or financial crash like in 2008 and 2001? Huh. We are overdue. Holy cow. Isn't that what Jonathan Kahn was doing? We had a financial collapse right after 9/11. Then we had another collapse 7 years later. We thought another one was going to hit in 2015 every 7 years. But here we are. We're 14 years removed. We are 14 years removed from the last collapse. Yeah, the Dow keeps going up and going down and going up and going down. We saw, what was the Dow at almost 37,000 in March? It dropped 7,000 points in 6 weeks. It was nearing a low again. Oh, and then it jumped up 400 points yesterday. Nothing happening really to justify these ebbs and flows. They can only fake and falsify the numbers for so long before reality sets in. But people are cutting back. They're not making money. They're not making ends meet. Good one, Melissa. Good one, Melissa. She says the following. Bad politicians are elected by good people who don't vote. That's right. And dead people who do vote. Let's not forget that part. And dead people who do vote. Yeah. Let's go back over to this whole Canada thing about Canada. Let's see. Second suspect in Canada's stabbing spree that killed 10 people commits suicide while in custody. Following a massive 4-day manhunt. 4-day manhunt, which ended in wild police chase that saw cops ram killer's truck off-road in Saskatchewan. Is that how it goes? Yeah. Again, mass stabbing. I didn't see anything come across the airwaves of knives being banned in Canada. Does anyone know? Mueller? But here it is. Policies. These policies are supposed to be like Europe, right? Yeah, we're going to get into Europe in a second here. We're going to get into Switzerland in a second here. But before we go there, let me, I need to do this here. Where art thou? Where art thou? Where art thou? I need to do the Ramsey thing for 1 second here. One more time, because it is essential that I take a stationary break for 1 second here. Please be patient. Are you tired of living from paycheck to paycheck? Are there more days at the end of the week and the end of the month than there's money in your bank account? Have you heard of a budget? Have you ever even heard of Dave Ramsey? Well, before we get into there, why don't we consider the 3 steps for financial freedom and remove you from the frustrations that are driving up the wall right now? Start with prayer. That's the first step. Have a conversation with God, and he can get you on the right track to make sure that you're doing things the right way. The second step would be looking into Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Stories of people who were in the same position as you are and how I used to be in the past. And they can show you that it does work. His plan does work, but you have to change your mindset and how you look at money. And then the third step is looking into Financial Peace University. This is what you take after reading Total Money Makeover. Trust me, this plan works, and I assure you, you will be living a lot better than you ever could before when you get a budget. Look into it now. Look into it now. Let them know Watson again. Watson from Battle4Freedom sent you, told you to look into Dave Ramsey. He keeps pushing it. Please give me the Dave Ramsey so I can make Watson stop bugging me about this. Tip says WD-40 will fix it all. Hey, Tim. Thanks for being part of the program. I hope you guys are traveling safely wherever thou be. This is crazy. Let's let's go to Don Lemon for a second here. Because again, this is what happens. Again, folks, I know you don't like what's happening during this administration. I know you don't like Biden. I know that you're fixated on 2,000 mules and so much more, but this is bigger. Everything happening right now is so much bigger than election integrity. Everything right now is about ineptitude. That the liberal progressive policies are fully funded failures. They are fully funded failures. And worse yet, everything that was attributed to Trump, the corruption, the womanizing, the sexual assaults, the family corruption, the nepotism, all that's happening right in front of our face, and there's no way around it. So much so, Don Lemon is branded a misogynist after asking stuttering Republican CNN commentator 43 if she was suffering from mommy brain. Now you could watch the video, and here it is. You remember that misogynist that Trump has been? Hey, look at all the people who just got fired from CNN. Are they a bunch of misogynists? CNN new owner is taking an aggressive arm in fixing his network so that they could try and recover from the gaping losses from this failed administration and their failed attempts of supporting a coup against our previous president. But here it is. They feel so comfortable to say and do whatever they never thought it would catch up to them. And here it is. Don Lemon being a misogynist. There's no way around this. There's no way around this. Literally, after seeing Cuomo fired and Stelter fired, you would think that most of these people would change script, but they got so comfortable in being irreverent and disrespectful and biased that they don't know how to operate against their nature that was put on full display for every American to see. Right now, what's happening, not only is Project Veritas exposing the teachers, these corrupt teacher officials that we've been telling you about, Black Lives Matter is being exposed for its corruption, taking out monies, using us. Patrice Cullors and how many more people are being exposed for, and is it time to start revisiting a lot of these places that people have been investing in? Is it time to start doing, hey, maybe instead of going after American citizens who are barely making $25,000 a year, why don't you go after these bigger programs and not just focus on the Proud Boys? Let's look at Black Lives Matter. Let's look at Antifa. Let's look at all these Soros-funded systems and start dealing with the people who are behind these things here. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. To see where your monies are going. I think they're telling you people are getting tired. I'm praying that, unfortunately, the people will wake up and they won't tolerate this anymore. Honestly, we'll know everything. What Brandon said earlier, that most of these voters have short-term memory. We're 2 months away from the decision to change the direction of America. This is make no mistake, conservatives, Republicans, non-liberal progressive voters, don't go off and insult the left, because all that does is galvanize them to stay stuck in their position. They may finally be tired of the policies that they've been following for so long, and that it has failed, and we will lose any chance of not just restoring America for conservatives, but restoring America for everyone. And if you operate in your pride If we operate in our pride to demean them, to ridicule them, and so much more, I mean, I'm exposing this stuff as you see. These policies don't work. I'm talking about the policies, not the people. And when I do get into the people, I'm showing you the very hypocrisies that they've been promoting. They've been advocates for equality, advocates for fairness, advocates for non-discrimination and bias, non-bias. Project Veritas just blew that out of the water. Right now, there is a wave of common sense coming in. Not a red wave, not a blue wave. It's a common sense wave. That's the biggest wave we need right now. We need a common sense wave, and the biggest common sense wave we could have is not attacking the people who don't subscribe to the same mentality as us. Be kind. I hated seeing those dumb, stupid signs, those dumb signs all over town. But here's your chance. Be kind. The people who put those signs out and they just want to be respected. Be kind. You here's your chance. So last week I was working with, the ID.me on Saturday to try and get my stuff done. So that I can fill out government papers and all that stuff for stuff I have to do in the future here. And I had to do a online live video authentication of verifying who I am. And the person who dialed in to deal with this was a young lady, or I don't know. I did not ask what she identified as, but she had bluish green hair, I think a nose ring, could scream all things liberal progressive. I could have made that assumption. I could have made that bias. I could have made that judgment against her. But when we were having a conversation about her assisting me on getting something done, I didn't care about her politics. I just cared for her as a human being. I forgot what we joked around about. But we had a really good conversation. And at the end of the day, I was so grateful because here's a Saturday. This young lady is working on a Saturday, helping me get things done for, this two-factor authentication stuff via the government. I was like, oh my goodness, this is Labor Day weekend. I'm going to have to wait till Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. Boom. There's someone right there to help me. Someone who looks like she does not, we do not see eye to eye on politics. But I'm so glad that that's not what drove our interaction, but that we both had a need. Her need was me being a customer that she had to serve and assist. And in the end, walk away with a great review from her job. Me looking beyond any bias whatsoever so that I can turn around and be grateful and kind to this young lady, this person who served me. You see, this is our chance, folks. This is our opportunity right now. I don't care what color their hair is. And even if something just does not completely compute with us, this is not a time to bash. This is a time to bless. Right now, what is it? I'm looking at this thing here. Breaking. Eliza Fletcher's killer could face the death penalty as he's charged with first-degree murder. But no, that's not the one that I want. I want the one where, you have thousands of people are now jogging, finishing up the path that she was on. More than 1,400 runners plan to finish murdered billionaire heiress Elias Fletcher's jogging route, along which she was abducted, as family releases montage of videos and tribute. 1,400 people. That number is going to grow. Because it's not just going to be Eliza Fletcher who they're representing, who they're standing in the place for. It's going to be more people, more victims. as they're tired of what's happening right now. And here's our chance. This hunt for Blue October, desperate. The Democrats are desperate to sell their message and make something palatable for people to keep them in power. And here's our chance to show them that their policies aren't working. Texas woman 35 tried to snatch a girl 4 from youngster's mom in Walmart store and told her, just because she's yours doesn't mean I can't take her. This is what we're looking at. When progressivism seeks to destroy, we must respond with common sense, compassion, and conviction. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio. I appreciate every last one of you. Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo's up next. Do me a favor, check him out and others on Mojo 5 Radio.